this was still Chicago, and to some of its officials, Capone was still the big fellow, capable of repaying favors with handsome rewards. And for a while, they enabled him to run his organization from jail. Warden David Moneypenny moved him to a one-man cell on the 5th floor with a private shower. He let him make phone calls and send telegrams. In gratitude, when the warden had to go to Springfield, Capone arranged for him to borrow one of his chauffeur-driven Cadillacs. Capone's old political cronies aided him further by obtaining passes to visit him, then turning them over to members of his gang whom he wished to talk to, such as the new public enemy number 1, Joe Fusco, Murray Humphreys, Johnny Torrio, Red Barker, and Jake Gusick. Torrio raised the cash Capone needed for his lawyer's fees and other expenses. The prisoner dared not draw on the secret repositories of his own money lest Internal Revenue discover them and impound everything. The most consequential gangsters to visit Capone during his months in the county jail were the New Yorkers Lucky Luciano and Dutch Schultz. Torrio brought them at Capone's insistence. The Dutchman had been challenging Luciano's claims to certain territorial monopolies, thereby endangering the general peace that had prevailed since the massacre of the Mustache Pete's. Capone cast himself as arbitrator. He wanted the Italian and the Jew to reconcile their differences and work in amity with other gang leaders to revitalize the national organization, in which he himself expected one day to play a commanding role. For this conference, Warden Moneypenny permitted the use of the death chamber, and it amused Capone to preside, sitting in the electric chair. But the outcome was not satisfactory. The Dutchman infuriated Capone by his sweeping demands. He behaved as though the entire New York territory rightfully belonged to him. He clearly preferred his individual independence to any alliances. Mustache Pete at heart, after all. If I'd had him outside, Capone said years later, I'd have shoved a gun against his guts. The conference broke up acrimoniously with nothing settled. What troubled Capone even more was that Torrio, unaccountably, appeared to favor Schultz. Before his old mentor returned to New York, he conjured him to have nothing to do with the Dutchman. Torrio was non-committal. In December, anonymous telegrams to the Department of Justice describing Capone's privileged life in jail put an end to it. After an investigation, U.S. Marshal Laubenheimer ordered Moneypenny to ban all visitors except the prisoner's mother, wife, son, and lawyers. Capone was transferred to the hospital ward with a detail of deputy marshals assigned to 24-hour guard duty. I didn't want him to mingle with the other prisoners, said Moneypenny by way of explaining why he had maintained Capone in comfortable privacy. I was afraid he'd be a bad influence on them. On February 27th, Capone was playing cards with 2 fellow inmates of the hospital ward when a deputy warden called him to the door to tell him the District Court of Appeals had rejected his appeal. He shrugged, rejoined his companions, and finished the game. 3 days later, there occurred one of the most atrocious crimes of the century. To Capone, it suggested an opportunity to regain his freedom. Train was for sale, rooms a lad 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pass. ain't got no cigarettes. I bought 2 miles of pushing broom. Buys an 8x12 4-bedroom. Man of means by no means. King of the road. Third boxcar, midnight train. Destination Bangor, Maine. Old worn out suit and shoes. I don't pay no union dues. I smoke old stogies I have found. Sure.